Make an exception. Is it online? Yeah. Okay. Now it's online on Facebook. We're back. Well, now we're back on YouTube, and we're back. Yeah. I don't know what happened. My internet. There's been a lot of people having a lot of issues with the internet lately.
You gotta consider everybody's using the internet.
Yeah, everybody's using the internet once. Okay, so for the new person that just joined that I invited earlier, do you have a stage name that you want to use so you don't have to use your real identity?
Just Keyblade Sonic. That's cool with y'all.
Keyblade Sonic.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello. So this is a trash talking podcast where we kind of just like join a chat and then we just trash talk and people listen to us trash talk about whatever we're talking about.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, I did get kicked off the internet, and we had like 8 people watching us, which was a good start because we'd only been talking for a few minutes, but now it just completely disrupted our momentum.
Right. Shit. Yeah, because I wondered because I was watching along and it suddenly just like cut midway. I was like, oh, okay, something's up.
Oh, I guess they're done. Well, short. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it's damn Mexico, damn. And when I say damn Mexico, I mean me, not the country. All right, let me go ahead and share the chat. Okay, so the way it works,
There it goes.
it's Keyblade Sonic. The way it works is on the Facebook call for the podcast. I'm screen sharing the chat so you can see it, so you can also acknowledge people while we're going.
Gotcha.
So it helps you out in the long run. We're gonna do a lot more. I'm man. Okay, so yeah, so I was having trouble connecting to Twitch and just finally connected to Twitch. I gotta stop connecting to Twitch though.
They're just trying to keep Mexicans off of Twitch, man.
I know, right? Well, because every time I try to do Twitch, I always get the same person commenting like, "What? No Final Fantasy Tactics? I'm out of here." I'm like, well,
You playing some Final Fantasy Tactics or what?
Tactics on the original on the PS1, but I have the PSP version.
Yeah, same here, man.
Oh, I love that game, dude. I love that game. It's so amazing.
Oh yeah.
Right now, before
That's one of the few I haven't tried yet.
Tactics is completely turn. It's not. It is turn based, but it's mostly strategy. Like all the you have like a team of like 5 or 6 characters. I'm not sure how many, but you have to move them around like a chessboard, and you have to strategize. And some characters work better at long range. Some characters work better up close. And you have like different job classes, and you can recruit like the only main character. Like you'll have other story characters in your team, but your team is mostly whatever you want it to be. Like you can recruit soldiers and put them in your army, and you can give them a class and train them and power them up. And Cloud is in Tactics because Tactics and 7 came out at the exact same time. Maybe not at the exact same time, but like the same year, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much around the same time.
And in the PSP version, they add Beowulf, and they add the main character from the DS version of Tactics. So they add even more people. So Tactics is definitely, it proves that the Final Fantasy games, it's more evidence that the Final Fantasy games are different universes from each other.
Yeah.
But
sweet, I loved it so much.
It is a great game. I'm so glad they remastered it for the PSP and added like they didn't really change the gameplay, but they added like cinematics to it because it didn't have cutscenes.
Yeah.
But now it does, and it's
Oh
really
man,
good.
Oh yeah.
Has anyone played Final Fantasy VII?
I like Tactics game. No.
I started. I'm pretty well into it, but yeah, I love it. It's great.
I thought you were gonna say like I've already beaten it like 3 times.
No, 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 no.
No, because like with Asian, we were talking to him, and Resident Evil 3 had just come out on Friday, like the Friday that it came out. So he got the game the day it came out, and then we talked to him a couple days. We talked to him 3 days later. Whatever. We talked to him on Sunday after the game came out, like just a couple days later, and he's like, "Oh, I've already beaten the game like 3 times." And we were like, "Jesus." Either the
I
game,
already
Yeah,
beaten
that,
the
that
game
game
6
is
times.
that game is incredibly short. It's like it's way shorter than Resident Evil 2 is, and they cut like a lot of stuff compared
Yeah.
to the other one.
They cut out a lot of the fun stuff.
To the game, and it just like they don't give you guidance on what you're supposed to do. So you just kind of
If anything, I feel like that game should not have been $60 on launch. If anything, it should have been like at least $40 or $30.
Yeah, but since when has Sony ever done a new game, or any of these companies done a new game that cheap?
What happened is that they did the multiplayer, so you have Resident Evil Resistance,
Yeah,
and they
that's right.
figured it wasn't going to sell well. So they sold Resistance packed in with 3,
Right.
but, you know, I am never going to play Resistance, so I paid for a game that I will never use,
Right.
and that's how they got away with that. That's why it was full price, even though...
I think, yeah, and then there's
Yeah.
that rumor. There's that rumor they said they were gonna do a Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm like, don't touch Resident Evil 4. Touch Code Veronica, and that's it. Just don't do any more remakes.
so there is a rumor going around that the Resident Evil 4 remake is not Resident Evil 4. The Resident Evil 4 remake. So I don't know. If listening knows like the actual story behind Resident Evil. Resident Evil 3 and 2 happen around the exact same time. There's a time like
Yep.
So they happen
Right.
around the same
The same
time.
week.
Right. Well, they happen within a few days of each other. And so Resident Evil 3 was originally supposed to be part of Resident Evil 2,
Mhm.
but
Not exactly. It was just supposed to be a small spin-off game, so like a DLC back nowadays.
well,
Yeah,
that's what
I
they
think,
said
yeah,
in like
Nemesis-
Did You Know
'cause,
Gaming? Like Veronica was
I heard
supposed
that-
to be the original.
Resident
Yes.
Evil 3.
Yes.
That should be Resident Evil 3 Code Veronica, but they got delayed significantly.
Actually, I actually have that game. It's really good on Dreamcast.
I have all the games.
Really good game on Dreamcast. Yeah, but it's like I feel like the next game that should be remade is Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should be. It shouldn't be 4 because 4 it kind of set the standard how the remakes already are.
I kind of laugh that just as they announced that they were going to do the 4 remake, the voice actor for Leon passed away. Kendall saying, "Yep, you guys ain't redoing this anytime soon."
Yeah, OG Leon.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
everybody's gonna be pissed at whatever voice they would pick.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
didn't. He didn't. But the thing was, he didn't voice him in Resident Evil 4.
No, he was the voice in 4.
Oh, he did. Okay, gotcha. I thought he got someone else. Never mind.
Nope, he was the same OG.
Gotcha. If anything, they'll probably get the same guy who did him in the 2 remake.
Mm-hmm.
Probably get him. I've actually met him before. He's actually a really cool guy. Pretty cool dude.
Or they get the guy that actually did the live action movie, get his
Oh god,
voice.
no.
Piss
The
everyone
movies-
off.
Those movies were fucking atrocious. I don't know who
Aren't
the
they
fuck thought it was a great idea.
The worst one was Chris Redfield in the live movie.
I thought
I thought
that
he
was
looked
actually
nothing
kind of
like
funny.
the character at
I thought that
all.
was kind of funny though that the guy that played Chris Redfield played in Prison Break, and here he is playing another character back in a jail cell.
Yeah, quite fitting.
So I don't know who kept buying tickets.
He didn't have Sheva in the way though.
Yeah, for real. I don't know who kept buying tickets to go see the Resident Evil movies, but whoever did, y'all fucking suck.
Yeah. Resident Evil's movies are pretty much the Dragon Ball movie universe.
Hey man.
Oh
Whoa,
my
hey,
god.
Hey man.
I don't think it's that bad, but I mean,
Look, y'all.
you know, Goku went to high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Everybody talks about how bad Dragon Ball is, but I mean, Oh
It
yeah, it's pretty fucking
legitimately
bad. It's pretty fucking bad.
There's
Nothing-
no. I mean, only the two chicks were the saving grace of that movie.
The only no, for real, the only but you gotta realize that Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li was way worse.
Oh yeah, that's I forgot.
I can at least watch her versus this Justin Chatwin.
That's because you went to go watch the movie with your wiener. Like, oh yeah, she's hot.
Kick some more stuff.
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure the Dead or Alive movie is probably the worst one.
I didn't even see
Well,
that.
I
one.
mean, I did like the chick from Smallville.
What chick?
God, the Dead or Alive movies? God, those are horrible.
I didn't even see
The
him.
Cult?
hmm
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I didn't even see the Dead or Alive movies. I saw the Tekken movie, which sucked. I saw the King of Fighters movie, which was horrible. I saw
At least they keeping the theme.
King of Fighters movie didn't even make sense though. Like they were all regular people that would go into a virtual reality world and fight in a tournament.
Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. Hold up. Yeah, that's a.
Which also
So, what's the worst one you think?
no, hold on.
What's the?
I have
Huh?
one more gripe about those movies. In King of Fighters, Kyo, when they show him as a child, he's Asian, but when he's an adult, he's a white guy.
Minor continuity error.
Yeah.
I'm like, did y'all
Who's turning on the
forget?
camera? Who's playing with the camera?
Yeah, my bad. That's me. Sorry.
That was odd.
Yeah, it's just.
What do you think the worst video game movie is so far?
That's a tough one.
Wait, what did you
I mean,
somebody
Super
had
Mario Brothers was pretty bad.
Haven't seen Blood Rain yet.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers was a bad movie.
Yeah, that was really, really bad.
All right, we'll go one
It's
at a
hard to
time.
say that's even part of Super Mario.
We'll
It's
go one
so
at a
bad,
time.
yeah,
We'll start
Miyamoto,
off with Keyblade Sonic. What video game movie do you think sucks?
Shit.
Put him on the
I mean,
spot.
besides Super Mario Brothers, besides Super Mario Brothers, that's one of them. Oh man, there's this one I remembered. Oh my god. Oh, the Prince of Persia movie that came out a couple years ago.
You mean that one movie that takes place in Arabia
Yeah,
or
the one
some
the one
like
where
Middle
they
East and got a
I'm
white guy?
Mysterio.
Yeah,
Jake
Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, well, that was
Believe it or
at
not,
least entertaining.
he's part
Yeah.
Persian.
It's entertainingly bad. There you go.
It was entertainingly bad.
Unlike Super Mario Brothers, which was just bad.
All right, so Chris, Super
It's
Chris,
hilarious, but he's part Persian.
Super Chris, you're next. What is a bad video game movie?
It is the worst that I can think of at the top of my head is that Super Mario Brothers. I
Okay,
just remember
besides
being
Super Mario,
so disappointed.
besides Super Mario, there's an entire wasteland of movies that are based off of video games.
You ever seen House of the Dead?
Oh no, I forgot all about that.
I did think that the second Mortal Kombat movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation,
Yeah, that
the
was
ending,
sad.
it was like, okay, let's wrap this crap up. Here's the dragon changing thing. And, oh my god, it was so fake looking. It was really bad.
Well, you only have 10 minutes to do the CG.
Yeah, this is your
That's pretty
budget.
much what
You
happened.
know, I found this crap in my car seat. This is all the money we have for this.
Somebody
Dude, car seat money.
I can
Nice.
just imagine what it was like directing that movie. All right, guys, we got to make Mortal Kombat 2. We blew our entire. They gave us a budget for 2 movies: Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2. Unfortunately, we can't afford the number 2, but we can afford the word annihilation. So we're gonna put that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, speaking of Mortal Kombat, did y'all see the newest animated one that just came out?
No,
Scorpion?
no,
No.
Haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, that one just came out, and it's actually not too bad.
Hmm.
Pretty good animation. It's done by Warner Brothers, so pretty
Oh, shit.
confident in them.
It's probably
Yeah.
worth watching if they did
Yeah,
it.
it actually looked really good, so I do recommend it. So next person, Mr. Bob, what is a horrible video game movie off the top of your head?
Blood Rain. I'm gonna go with Blood Rain. It's pretty
Oh
bad.
my
It's
God.
bordering on like softcore porn.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
That one too.
I saw that one too. And they made a
We made
sequel.
I didn't
about
have the
10 minutes
pleasure.
into it, and I just could not do it.
I didn't have the pleasure of seeing that one.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually,
we made
mind if I change mine? Set up Prince of Persia, Doom.
oh, yeah, that was bad.
Again, that was at least entertaining.
Yeah, that one's an enjoyable movie if you
It's-
ignore it
it's-
being Doom.
Did you see that newest one? The newest Doom movie that came out? last
Yes,
year?
yes, I saw that one.
Yeah, that's a bad one too. But sorry, carry on.
No,
wanna add mine.
to answer to just like Bob, I saw Blood Rain as well, but I only saw Blood Rain because for those of you that don't know, there was a store that used to be called Blockbuster, and they used to let you would go there and you would pick DVDs or video cassettes, which were known as VHSs, and you would rent them and watch movies.
Oh my God.
So Blockbuster all had this program where it was you paid like $20 or $30 a month and you could rent 2 movies or however many it was at a time. So you would, as long as they weren't a new release. So we had that for like a year, and so we used it like every time we would go and get a movie, watch it. A few days later, return and get another one, get another one, get another one, get another one. And so eventually I started running out of shit to watch. So I was like, okay,
Wait, then you
Blood
started
Rain.
watching shit.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Blood Rain. They have a game on that. The
Okay,
game,
time to stop the membership.
right? We had to stop it because we ran out of stuff to watch. So I'm like, okay, Blood Rain, and then I
And then
watch
the
it.
foreign documentaries, I think you went too far.
Yeah. I watched Blood Rain. I saw it. I'm like, okay, there's a game based off of this. Okay, I wonder if it's close to the game because at the time there was only one Resident Evil game, and there was only one Resident Evil movie, and the movie wasn't bad. Like it's supposed to be like an origin story, and it kind of made sense. It wasn't bad. But then again, I was a teenager with poor taste.
Mhm.
I used to like Mike Jones, a rapper.
Oh, God.
I still kind of do because it's nostalgic, but whatever. I see the movie and it is almost as bad as the damn Harry Potter fan fiction that I have to read currently for the fan fiction streaming, except the
By
grammar is
law.
a lot better.
I couldn't make it to the end, man. I don't know about you.
I didn't make it toward the end. I made it like the first 45. How long is the movie? It was like an hour and a half. I think I made it like halfway.
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes for me.
It
Man,
gave-
that's as far as we made
No,
it.
the
We're all
movie
drunk.
gave my PlayStation 2 cancer. Like I swear to God, it did. 'Cause my PlayStation 2 stopped working.
Damn.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, you Bull.
No. Oh man, thanks for reminding me of that tragic part of my life that I'm gonna have nightmares about tonight. I forgot all about Blood Rain.
Yep.
It was traumatic.
Honorable mention, Wing Commander.
Oh no.
Yeah. Wing Commander. That's a bad one.
All right. Justin the cosplayer, formerly known as GameCube on the stream.
Is it the Wing Commander one, or you have the guy who's now the official voice of Scooby Doo?
Yeah, he played Shaggy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the bad ones.
Yeah. They also had Mark Hamill also in there.
Yeah, but Mark Hamill's in everything.
Right.
Yeah,
Even the new Child's Play that came out last year.
yeah. He even does voice acting work for himself.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Mark Hamill in some of those movies.
What was that cartoon they did recently? He actually played 3 different voices at the same time talking to himself.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
What movie is this?
And I think Swamp... no, there's a cartoon where...
It was an
he's
animated,
playing
yeah.
Swamp Thing. He is the Joker, and the Joker captures Mark Hamill, the actor.
Oh, is
Mhm.
it the Harley Quinn?
No, slightly older than that.
Oh, okay. Just trying to remember that. What?
Who watches TV anymore?
Everyone watches Netflix. That's what
We stream old TV stuff.
Yeah, with this streaming about people with tigers and all that stuff.
I'm not watching that
Yeah,
shit,
I still
dude. I
haven't looked
refuse
into
to watch that
So it
crap.
was too weird.
I'm not watching that crap. I'm not gonna watch Tiger King. I refuse to watch Tiger King. I refuse to have anything
I
to do
don't-
with Tiger King.
I saw the little preview. I'm not interested in it either.
My big problem is you see all the TV stations, they're like, hey, we're going to cancel this show because there's not enough viewership. 10 seconds later, Netflix buys it, and they're, you know, the number
Doing
one
well.
rated show, and it's
Yeah.
just because nobody wants to watch it on TV anymore.
Yeah.
That or the TV people just don't know what we like.
Well,
They don't.
no,
They
right.
don't. They're so scared of investing in anything anymore.
Well, it's because they want. Okay, so the way it's because on Netflix people can watch it whenever they want at their leisure, whereas TV they have a set schedule and you can only watch it at that time. Otherwise, you're screwed. So what's the point?
Unless you
Or
got
DVR.
Yeah,
Yeah, DVR.
DVR.
Yeah, but not everyone has DVR.
Which is annoying too, because I can only have 3 or so shows at the same time. That gets annoying too, because they schedule everything at the same time. That's good.
Well, it's prime time.
Yeah, prime time.
Everything needs to be on prime time.
Which, if they all got their stuff together, they could stagger it, and everybody can get something to watch.
Right.
Well, it's not like they own every other studio. Wait, they own every studio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of one for me.
The wonders of
I'm trying to think of
corporations.
a bad video game movie besides Super Mario Brothers, because we can just spend we can spend the entire time just bad mouthing that movie.
Okay.
I think we will.
Yeah, those were Koopas? Really?
No,
Yeah,
they
the
were
Like their
Goombas.
head got shrunk.
They
The
were-
Goombas and then the bombs.
The tiny little wind up
Yeah.
bomb.
I still
And,
can't get
he
over
would
Toad.
just go, a monkey.
Frieza.
That out of context is just the best thing ever.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
that would have been so out of context. That movie's filled with out of context clips.
I mean, what was it? Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, he was Bowser.
Yes. Dennis Hopper was King Koopa.
And he turned
Yeah.
a guy into
And-
a monkey using a super scope from the Super Nintendo. Talk about product placement right there.
Mhm.
Oh, somebody had mentioned Double Dragon movie.
Yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
Oh,
God, I just watched that.
When I was a kid, it was kind of goofy, funny though. But I was a kid when that came out, so
Yeah.
if I watched it now, I'd probably cringe a lot. But I don't know.
But a quick question: would you consider The Wizard a video game movie?
No, it's more of an
Debatably,
advertisement.
yes.
No, it's
It was
more of
just
an
a commercial.
advertisement. It's a commercial.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
You need the power glove. You feel the power of the power
It's so
glove.
bad.
I want that glove.
It's so good.
You,
It's useless once you have it, but it's cool to look at.
California.
want to play a very simple game and make it overcomplicated with an accessory that costs way too much and doesn't even function properly? Get the Power Glove. Now you're playing with
By
power,
Mattel.
Nintendo Power. By Mattel.
I mean, that sounds cool, but
Yeah, they made it sound.
Damn, I want one.
Worked out that way.
Man. That's the thing. Certain things, accessories are great, and other things, it's terrible. I
yeah.
really missed games like Steel Battalion that had these insane things. You're like, dude, you just needed the controller, so you bought the game.
Well, the Nintendo robot was cool too, but
Rob,
useless.
yeah.
Rob
Rob.
was a piece
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah, he. Poor guy.
Rob was
Yeah.
so
What
bad
do you
they
do?
recycled
Seriously.
it.
He was only used for like 2 games, and like his gameplay was so slow. It's like it takes forever, and it's like I don't know
Yeah.
if you watch the Angry Video Game Nerd. It's pretty much a good episode.
Yeah, no, yeah.
describes it.
Well, if you really want a good description of what it does and how useless it is, watch Angry Video Game Nerd. Like, no one can put it better. Rob
Yeah.
was so bad, they scrapped it and recycled it and turned it into Wally.
Pretty much.
Hey, that thing's worth some good money now, though.
Yeah, I
Except-
think
it's
now
perfect.
because
It's the perfect thing to sit on a shelf.
yeah, he's on Smash Brothers. He was on Mario Kart once, so now he has a legacy now.
He's pretty darn
Yeah.
tough in Smash. I like him in Smash.
Yeah.
He looks
But,
like a damn gas pump in Smash.
Actually, speaking of games, there's this thing. I saw this thing on Twitter earlier, and people were debating about what do you think is the worst video game controller from any company?
Mad Cats, just the whole company.
No, like basically like
Yeah.
a first party controller, worst first party controller.
Oh, that's
okay.
easy.
I never liked diagonal analog. I'd never liked diagonal analog sticks on the Xbox. I thought they should be, across from each other.
Yeah, I can see that. Because for me, I have an Xbox. For me, like the Atari 5200 with those number buttons, it looked like a phone than a controller.
Oh yeah.
And I remember people were telling me that the N64 is like the worst designed controller. I'm like,
No, it's
I
not.
can see
It's
that.
strange.
It's a strange
It is
controller.
odd. It takes
It's,
some
it's
getting
a strange
used to.
controller, but like yes, the Atari
Once you get used to it,
5200,
it is.
the Atari 5200 was a bad controller, but obviously
Mhm.
no one here has ever played the damn Atari Jaguar.
The Jaguar, yeah, that one's trash. That's
That
a
is
trash
I
a
played
controller.
bad
like
controller.
Yeah, it is. I
It
think
is-
any Atari controller is trash.
Now the most the most
That was the name of the company.
unresponsive controller is definitely the Atari 5200, but the
Mhm.
worst design, I don't know, worst like
Design.
not
look,
design,
wor-
not
worst
design. I'm
look of a
sorry,
controller.
but just like the controller.
Functional?
Yeah, the worst functional controller is definitely the Jaguar. The worst
Uh-huh.
design for a controller is the Duke for the original Xbox.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I remember.
Something's got to be said about the Steam controller. It is a good controller overall, but then you only have one joystick, and you're like, move
Yeah, how you gonna
and
control
look.
the camera?
Mhm.
Yeah, they
No,
missed
well, it's
something.
because the other one it's touch sensitive. I had it.
Oh
It-
yeah, that.
I have it, and it's a pain to try to play games with.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's some people are good with it, some people are not good with it. That's why I'm not counting it, because there are people that know how to use it and they use it well.
Right.
It is touch sensitive.
That's another reason. Yeah, that's another reason why I haven't put a whole bunch of games on my phone. There's just some games you need physical buttons.
Right.
The touchscreen just doesn't work for everything.
Yeah.
Mostly RPG old games I can play on the phone because I just have to hit a direction or something.
What about you, Bob?
Right.
What is a bad controller you've ever used? And just to address the comments, we're talking about first party.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'd still have to say the N64, man. Man, that thing gave me blisters. It was just
Yeah, I think
man.
I agree. I have an N64. That analog stick is such ass. And then when the GameCube was like such an upgrade, the analog stick.
Oh yeah, that was such an upgrade. And like I remember, like after a while, that freaking joystick would just stop working.
Yeah, it does. The
Put so much
N64 one
pressure on
is
it.
bad, really bad.
My brother got the blisters from playing Mario Party.
Right. That
Oh, shit.
that one that just hurts a lot of people's hands just for that analog stick for the N64.
Yeah, no lie. The N64 joystick wasn't very well built, but they were trying. They built that.
Yeah.
They built the joystick at a time where joysticks weren't a thing just yet, and they were going based off of arcade,
Right.
because joysticks were like the ones for like Atari or the PC, like Commodore 64. But
Yeah.
But the one thing I like about the older consoles like Atari is that the Sega Genesis
Mhm.
controller is compatible.
Yeah, I like that too. Also ColecoVision.
Yes, but ColecoVision is like blech.
Yeah, but like that is true. You could use a Sega Genesis controller on an Atari, and it's like really convenient.
I mean, if it wasn't
good
for
better
Sony,
experience.
Thank you for letting another company do better than you.
I think Sony really
Right.
perfected the joystick.
They really
Everyone went based off of their design.
Right, the
Yep.
N64. Yeah, I mean, sure it was thin, but like it was innovative. But like looking back, like wow, this was the first good working analog stick in a way.
And it really hasn't evolved
Yeah, those-
much. The PlayStation controller is the only controller right now in the market that has had a like almost the exact same layout throughout its entire
Yeah, they just
lifespan.
made it a little
it
bit,
did.
little
Yeah.
bit bigger, spread it out a little bit. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
But,
I
like,
just wish
speaking
that touchpad was useful. Like, not a lot of games use that, and it's just kind of
Right.
there.
yeah,
Still
well
too much space.
that's a problem with with a lot of games when they first came out, like or you know. When the games first come out, they try to utilize the special features and functions of the controllers, but like after like 2 years, they stopped giving a shit and stopped using it.
Yep.
Like a lot of people
Yeah.
forgot that the PS3 controller has motion, 6 axis.
Yeah,
Six axis. It's built into the name.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, of the 4 PlayStation controllers, how would you rank them from like best to worst? Like 4, 3, 2, and all that, and 1. How would you rank them?
Well, that's kind of hard because the PS1 and 2 DualShocks are identical unless you're going with the original PS1 controller.
Exactly.
All right, yeah, that seems fair. Yeah,
And-
I pretty much the order that they're in. You
Well,
know,
yeah,
4 is
like-
the newest, and
And then like the DualShock 1, 2, and 3 are almost exactly the same, except the bumpers, the
Yep.
L2 and R2 have become triggers. So
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
that's really
Yep.
not like a that's not really a good. Oh, how do you rank these 4 controllers when like 3 of them
They've
are almost
evolved.
the exact same shit?
okay, well,
yeah, they
Yeah, I would
they
say-
have evolved, and that's what's so
Comparison to,
good
like,
about the Sony controllers.
Like
they
the-
just
The one
Evolve.
controller that has changed and there is no consistency is the
Nintendo.
Nintendo controllers.
yeah.
yeah.
They went from a spaceship of the N64 to like a standard, and then the Wii with the remote, and then the Wii with the giant tablet, and then the Switch has 2 of them. You could just basically be their own controller.
Yeah, we went from a 2-button controller to a 4-button controller,
And no matter-
bumpers, to a capital M with a joystick in the middle that feels weird to hold. Then we went to a standard controller. Then we went to nunchucks that you had to tie to your hand because you would accidentally smack
Yep.
someone across the face with it because you thought it was too realistic.
Break the TV.
Break the
Right.
TV.
Yeah, accident, yeah.
Then we went to a tablet with a joystick on it.
Yeah, we're now in the Index generation, where it has touch sensitivity.
I was talking about the Wii
Yeah,
U.
that too.
The Wii U. I'm talking about the Wii U. The Wii U was a tablet controller.
Yeah. If you know, I think the Wii U is just a tablet, and the thing that sucked about it was that it was supposed to be like, oh, you get to use up to 2 gamepads, and not once there was a game that came out that uses 2 gamepads. So
There
like,
is
okay.
one game.
Okay,
There is
gotcha.
one game that does use 2 gamepads.
Really, which one?
I don't remember, but they were talking about it on. They were talking about that exact same thing on Did You Know Gaming, and there are like 1 or 2 games that do utilize it, but it's not advertised and it's not mentioned in the game. They only discovered it because they went through like the BIOS for the game.
Oh, like files again. Okay, yeah. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I
That
played
explains it.
Mario Party like that with the multiple tablets
Yeah,
for the Wii U. That was about it.
yeah.
Okay.
I think Mario Party was. You can only use 2 tablets per console though. Like otherwise, you have to use the nunchucks.
Yeah, everybody else has to use
Exactly.
Wiimotes and nunchucks.
I don't like
Oh,
the
okay,
design for
got
the tablet, for the Wii U tablet though, because the joysticks are like way at the very top of the controller. Like they are uncomfortably high up here. I'm looking at it right
Did
now.
you know? Did you know that those analog sticks were going to be the circle pads with the 3DS?
Yeah,
That
I
should've been
did
more-
because they
less
had
comfortable.
well, the original design it was just a screen with 2 Wii controllers taped to the side of it, and they're like, oh,
No. There was a prototype of it that came out a year earlier. Actually,
Right.
When they first unveiled it, it was like a different design.
I don't.
Metroid Prime Trilogy. I didn't know that about that. Had dual screen.
Why is the
Functionality.
joystick, the second one, the right one, above the buttons?
Yeah, there's two analog sticks on top.
Right, and this one is above the. I've never had another controller where the analog stick was higher than the buttons.
Yeah, that's odd.
It was odd, especially at the Pro controller. It just looked really odd. It just looked like an Xbox controller, but they switched the mapping of the,
Right, like,
the right
Oh, like,
analog
we
stick
need a
and the buttons.
controller. We need it to be goodly designed, but we don't want to be sued.
Actually, the real talk, the Switch Pro controller is really good. It's a really good Pro controller.
I have an adapter. There's an adapter. It's made by 8-bit though. It's a really good adapter, and you can get it on Amazon right now for $19.99, if not like $21, $22. And it works with the Switch, and it allows you to use an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 controller on your Switch.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds
it
great.
does.
Because I can't
Right.
stand the controls on the Switch. They're diagonal analog sticks too.
Right, and I have 2 of the adapters, and they work great, especially for fighting games. There's no lag. There's no error input errors. They work great. The only thing is you can't use the Amiibo function because these are PlayStation 4 controllers. And obviously I'm going to say PS4 because a lot of people are going to get it for the PS4 controller.
Yeah.
Actually, what do y'all think of the new PS5 controller? Like when they just unveiled the photo, what do you think of it?
I thought
It's
it
like
was
those looking
fine.
right.
It's pretty early to tell anything about that, though.
Yeah.
Does it play games?
Yeah, like my gripe is the color. It just looks,
Again, it didn't look drastically different than the PS4. They're, like I said, they're just altering it a little at a time,
Okay,
Right.
look, everyone's
so they
talking
don't lose
trash.
people that like the controller.
There's a lot of people talking
Yeah.
trash about the PS5 controller. Obviously, a lot of these people don't remember the damn boomerang for the PS3.
yeah, that was worse.
No, yeah.
That boomerang.
It's
controller.
different. It's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't look like it's like contoured like the way the other ones are, so it doesn't look as comfortable. But I have to get my hands on it before.
Exactly.
I
You have
think-
to get your
Right,
hands
right.
on
I'm
a
not-
controller.
It actually looks like it might be more comfortable to me because I'm a PlayStation guy. I love Sony. I had
Mm-hmm.
when I was growing
I
up,
agree.
I had N64, but then I got my PS2, and I got a PS3, and then I got a 360. I got a 360 before I got my PS3, but I got my PS3, then I got my PS4, and I'm gonna get a PS5. I've always been Sony. Sony's amazing, but I will say this: Xbox, their controller is much more comfortable. It is not better.
Yeah,
It
I
is
think the
not
360.
better.
Yeah, right. I think the 360 controller is like one of the best controllers. Had they not screw up the D-pad.
Right? No, yeah. It is It
Yeah.
is a very comfortable controller to hold.
Right.
The only thing is,
but
it
I saw
sucks.
talking in the comments about that, and
Mhm.
like I think that first one was probably really bad because it was just way too like close together, but then bulky. Like all the button placement was bad, but then when they got the 360 controller out there, it was a lot better design, and that kind of really cemented what they were going to design with, you know.
Well,
Mhm.
the original is called it's called the Duke. They didn't call it
Yeah.
that. But that's what everyone called it. So now that is what it's
The
called. It's
parent
called the
called
Duke. And then before Xbox 360 came out, they redesigned the controller for the Xbox, and then that's the current design that they have now.
Yeah, they call it the S controller,
The S controller, but we
Yep.
call it the Duke on a Diet controller.
Duke Dyke. The Duke Van Dyke.
The Duke. So Xbox does have a more comfortable controller, but Sony has a more functional controller overall.
Yes.
Because fighting games on the Xbox do not work as well as fighting games on Sony.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Why
don't
do you
know-
think everybody uses PS4 pads?
Right. And
Everything's symmetrical on the PlayStation controller.
there are adapters that allow you to use your old PS2 controller on the original Xbox. There are adapters that let you use your PS2 controller on the PS3. And believe it or not, a lot of people didn't know this. I didn't know this until I hit college. There were Tekken arcade cabinets that let you use your PS2 controllers on the arcade cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That were.
cool.
Remember that too.
So the PS2 was one of the most universal controllers ever.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your own controller.
It was the best selling of all time too.
And they're really difficult to find now.
Now there's a question: Did the ranking for the PlayStation 2 go up because of how many failed, and people were still willing to buy it because of the quality of the games?
in terms for the PS2.
Yeah, they re-released it in a slim version too, and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that they had more sales because they wanted a slimmer one. A lot of people were using them as DVD players
Yeah,
when they first came out. It
According,
was only a little bit more, and I get a PlayStation with my DVD player.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also it sold pretty well in Japan too, because at the time the PS2 was the cheapest DVD player.
In
Yeah.
and in the United States as well. United States.
Yeah, it was
The
just like
PS2 was like-
$25 more, and you have a game system too.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I think it
And,
was like $1,000 for a DVD player, and the PlayStation was $400.
it was like 300, 200, like 250 over there in Japan. I think it was like around 300.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did it again with the PS3 Blu-ray player. Boom.
Yeah, a $600 Blu-ray player in 2006.
And then freaking getting everybody in debt to them for like Xbox having to use
Mhm.
the Blu-ray discs and shit.
HD DVD.
Yeah, they tried their Toshiba-based HD DVDs.
Yeah, that was awkward for Xbox 360.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but I mean the original PlayStation, that was the CD player you got
CD
free.
player.
So
Yeah,
they
and also-
always gave you something extra until the PS4. Honestly, they didn't have 4K, which
Until
I
the
think
PS
they should
Pro.
have.
Yeah, until the Pro came out.
Well, even that doesn't play it on a disc.
Oh, right, yeah. And and also not just PlayStation had the CD player, also the Dreamcast had a CD player, also,
Mhm.
and the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, Mexicans. I never really knew much about Sega. Didn't get popular. It was all about El Nintendo.
Yeah, it was either
Mhm.
Nintendo or PlayStation.
whatever,
Yeah.
dude. I'm Mexican, and I had a Sega Genesis.
Well, you were lucky. You had a lot
I
of
just
stuff.
bought a Genesis a few months ago.
I didn't have a Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
I had a
I-
Sega Genesis.
And then I was the opposite. I had Super Nintendo. I didn't have a Sega Genesis,
I had that black.
which I was
processor.
very interested in it.
I was interested in it too. I only had the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I was interested in it because I saw Aladdin, and Aladdin. Oh my God! On the Sega, he has a sword.
Right, that's what everybody said too. Like people said the Sega version of Aladdin was better than the Super Nintendo one, even though Super
Yeah.
Nintendo was done by Capcom.
The
I
wasn't
mean, it was
just that,
still
though,
an
but
entertaining game.
Mortal
but-
Kombat was better
Kombat was
on
better
the
on Genesis.
Mortal Kombat was better on the Sega Genesis than it was on the
Yeah,
Super
you
Nintendo.
got the.
Yeah.
They had the blood in the Sega.
Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat.
the
Yeah,
blood.
I mean for Sega, the first Mortal Kombat, you had to put a code in to get the blood. With Super Nintendo, they took away the blood, and then once Mortal Kombat 2 came around, both versions had blood on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then and also because there were some games that they had where Nintendo was known as like the kiddie company, while Sega was like the very teenage edgy company.
Hmm.
They were edgy.
And
They
then,
were
like-
rad.
Yeah, they were the rad guys. And then once Super Nintendo was coming out with their own games like Killer Instinct, Super Metroid, they were having those dark toned games and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game. The Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct was good. Yeah, and I remember they actually released because I remember Sega was like pretty much on a roll, but it wasn't until the Sega CD and the 32X came out, and they kind of like screwed up around that time.
Yeah.
The
They,
the Sega CD though was revolutionary.
It was, but at the same time, what happened was it was like pretty. You had it basically was telling customers you had to get a Sega Genesis to play the Sega CD, and it was like not everybody had a Sega Genesis, and like you had to buy this. You had to buy both consoles at once. So
Hmm.
and
Right,
also, and then once they said CDs was the next big thing, and then once they released the 32X, they kind of went back to cartridges. So basically, they were like, okay, so you said CDs are the next big thing, but then you went back to cartridges.
Yeah,
And
but
you have a big amalgam thing next
Yeah.
to your TV.
yeah, but
And apparently, and then for some reason they said, and then they released some games on the 32X, and then they don't look as good as compared to the Super Nintendo. For example, Doom. Apparently, they cut half the levels on the 32X version of Doom, and the Super Nintendo kept all the levels. And I was
Yeah,
like,
but-
64.
Doom
Yeah, dude.
Doom on the 32X looked better than it did on the
looked better. Yeah, it looked
Mhm.
better, but like half the levels were missing, and the music sounded like god awful.
That's because Doom.
And remember, this
Doom
is at the
was
time
never,
with the old TV still.
right. Doom wasn't meant to be on a console at the time, though. Like they were
On
just
a
better
console.
off waiting till the PlayStation and 64 era. Honestly,
Right, and also, yeah, they should have. I think they even released it on, what was it on? They did it on Jaguar too, apparently, but it didn't have music of like Silent Doom.
right? But the Jaguar version is probably regarded as the best version. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I didn't play Doom.
What's up?
I had a Sega Genesis, and then I went to Nintendo 64.
Right.
Yeah, I went Nintendo.